What is up, YouTube? 5'8" dunker, vertical trainer, brain cancer survivor, Lloyd here from Skigh Athletics, and today I'm going to show you guys how I remain pain-free when I jump, both in the knees and in the quads, which tend to get tender when you run and jump a lot, through workouts that I do before every single leg day, whether I'm lifting or jumping. And that's the intro. I know you guys don't like a lengthy intro, so let's get right into it. So the first thing that I do when I get into the gym, I get on the STAIRmaster. So I get on the STAIRmaster for anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes, get some knee over toe action. So you can see in this video, I'm kind of on the ball of my foot. I don't like to go flat footed. I do like to get that quad pump early, and then I get right into a pretty big superset. So the first thing you're gonna see me doing is this banded hip flexor exercise. Before I used to use weight, but I activate the hip flexor in a different way. I get to get that speed work in, so I switch to the band. I love the pump just as much, and it hits the hip flexor really well. I go right to the groin squats. If you've been following me for a while, you know these groin squats very well. I'm opening up in a very wide sumo squat position with my toes pointing out, going down slow, and I'm coming up slow. If it's your first time doing it, follow my tempo here. We really want to activate the groin and get away from the glutes and the quads, which tend to take over during the major exercises. So right here is a great time to activate that groin. So again, it's active and not dormant when we go to jump, train, or lift. And it's also great after the third set that you do this, you start to feel more flexible so you can sit down deeper in your squat. It really opens you up very nicely. We're gonna get right into these Jefferson curls. I've gotten into these where it's a weighted hamstring stretch, except I'm not hitching at the hip and I'm rolling my upper back a little bit. I'm not going crazy with the weights here. I've advanced to the point where I can use 25-pound plates, but again, go light and use the weight you feel comfortable with. Start off with maybe 5 to 10 pounds and work your way up. You can substitute this with RDLs or good mornings to activate the low back, but I've liked getting the low back loose instead of getting it tense before I jump or before I go to squat or deadlift. So I've liked the adjustment to the Jefferson curl to stretch out those hamstrings, which tend to get really tight, and that does hinder you in your sprint for your full approach when you go jump, or if, again, you're going to go deadlift. I like to be more loose than tight, so that's why I switched to the Jefferson curl. After this, we are going to get into the VMO band resisted movement. Now, the VMO is the inner part of your quadricep, and it's that little teardrop, the vastus medialis and oblique, and we want to turn that on. So I talk about dormant muscles, muscles that aren't really activated. If that VMO is, again, turned off, your outer upper quad near the hip flexor is gonna get extremely tight. So this is a perfect exercise where I'm gonna keep my leg, I'm not gonna extend the knee out forward completely as I'll run it back a couple times, but the main point is to straighten out that leg. My feet are always gonna stay flat. So I'm showing my left foot. My left foot is always gonna stay flat, and I'm mainly focused on driving my knee backwards and flexing the inner part of that left quad. You'll feel it after the 10 reps. So again, I go for 10 to 15 reps. You can see the resistance that I have on the band. Again, adjust to where you feel comfortable and don't go crazy on the resistance. You know, this isn't a bench press, this isn't a squat. There's no need to impress anyone. Go for tension and for muscle activation. Remember, we're warming up, about to work out. We don't want to fatigue anything, so don't go crazy heavy on this band. And then we will jump right into the Spanish squat. Guys, the Spanish squat is my new favorite exercise. I've always done it, but getting back into it as I literally just ordered bands so I could do this because I left my other bands in Pennsylvania. I'm down in Florida now. I'm gonna put this, as you can see, I'm gonna put this band behind my calves. This was a smaller band, which is why I got my own. So I have it right under my knees, and I'm gonna sit as if I'm doing a wall sit. And the main thing that we're doing here is we're getting rid of jumper's knee completely with this exercise alone. This is probably, if you were to ask me what's the best exercise to get rid of knee pain, I would say this. We're actually loading up the patellar tendon, which patellar tendonitis is actually what causes jumper's knee, and that's the overload or the overstrain of the joint, the knee joint in and of itself. So that's what jumper's knee comes from. That's where, if you've ever gotten that bump on your knee, that's where it's from. It's from the patellar tendon. So we're actually loading it up in a very healthy way. This is essentially the equivalent of oiling up a door hinge, and it's really going to give us about an hour to an hour 10 minutes worth of just pain-free movement. It's also going to activate the glutes like crazy. Again, I'm going to just run this a couple times so you guys can see it as I'm explaining it. But this is my favorite exercise for that glute activation. But it's also, again, going to fire up the VMO, because as that band, it's a single loop band. So we want to push out because we don't want our knees to cave in ever. And as we push out, we're activating that VMO. So you'll feel it, since we already acted the VMO earlier, it's going to just be on fire again. So again, there's going to be no quad pain during this, because quad pain is just the worst. If you've ever jumped with tender quads, it's not fun at all, and you lose a lot of power. And if the knees are pain-free, you get to put as much effort and strength as you physically can into the jump, and that's just going to mean you're going to be jumping higher for longer periods of time, which just means more gains. So that's a benefit. The final exercises are going to be the backward sled walks and the forward sled walks. I like to superset them together. Now you'll see this backward sled walks. I am taking my time. I think I have about maybe 6 plates, 45-pound plates, either 5, 6, or 7. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, I like to take a band, a really thick band, and wrap it around where I would normally put my hands for the forward sled walks, just so that I can really keep that back straight during the backward sled walk, so I don't have to rely on pulling with my hands. I can keep good posture, and I'm keeping my legs straight. So you can see I'm taking my time with this. I'm not overextending my legs. Very small movements. I'm overloading the quad right here, but again, it's going to feel so fresh on that patellar tendon. You're not going to feel any knee pain during this. And again, the more we activate the quads, the more we activate that VMO, which again, it's going to be fired up during this because it was activated earlier, the less pain we're going to have on that outer quad, the less pain we're going to have on that patellar tendon. So again, no jumper's knee ever. And then once I get to the end, instead of turning it around, just to fire up the hip flexors again, I like to do basically resisted sprints. It doesn't look like a sprint. It doesn't feel like a sprint because it is heavier weight, but I do this for, probably myself, I'll do it for anywhere from 6 to 8 sets, depending on what I'm lifting that day. And my hip flexors are fired up, my quads are fired up, glute, everything, hamstrings are fired up because it's, emulating a sprint. So again, this is the best way to finish off the warm-up. The main thing that I do suggest are these 2 hip flexor exercises, which you'll be able to see right now. So I'm gonna get a surface that I can put my foot on. So right here, I'm putting my right foot on and I'm opening up that left foot. If you see that left foot on the ground, you see that it's making a 90-degree angle with the plyometric box that I'm stepping on with my right foot. And then I'm lifting up my left hand straight up to the sky. This is opening up that left hand and putting it straight up to the sky is going to really open up that hip flexor in a beautiful pain-free way. I do these for about 10 to 15 second holds. And then in this next one, you'll see that I'm putting my right whole leg, I'm putting the whole leg on the box from my knee down to my toes. I am opening up that right foot. I don't want to close it off because this is going to open up the hip a little bit as well. And I'm going to lean forward with that left foot. You'll see that I'm going to be on the ball of my foot. I am dropping down as if it's a lunge a little bit. And instead of opening up that left hand, we're going to open up the other side by putting our right hand. So right leg on the box this time, right hand up in the air. And again, opening up, dropping down, keeping our feet basically at shoulder width apart. I'll show it at a different angle so you can see me leaning into it. I'll show it with the right leg, I'll show it with the left leg, and you can see the position I'm in. But again, keeping that shoulder width apart, very natural, healthy positions that are going to open up not only the hip flexor, but it's going to open up your low back and your hamstrings, which tend to get tight when you jump, tend to get tight during the warm-ups. So these 2 stretches, I don't like to get too deep into stretching before I warm up, especially static stretching, but these are part of my warm-up that I've just grown to love. I feel completely open and athletic when I start jumping, very loose, pain-free, so you could focus completely on the jumping, on the squatting, if you're squatting that day at the gym, if you're deadlifting, instead of focusing on the pain that you're going through. That's the video, guys. That's the entire warm-up that I go through. I know it's not strenuous, it is lengthy, but it's absolutely worth it. For my training, for my personal training, for my online programs, you can go to my website. Links are in the description, www.skighathletics.com. My elite program is at skighathletics.com/shop. Daily workouts, $19.99. Daily workouts for 6 months. You can check that out. And I am coming out with a new program within the next 6 to 8 weeks. It is going to be completely based around transforming your body from whether you're a powerlifter or a bodybuilder, turning all that strength into functional athletic strength, speed, and balance. Very excited about this program. So that'll be out in about 6 weeks. So yeah, check out my website, check out my Instagram. I appreciate you guys liking. I appreciate the comments, the interactions. Feel free to email me for any questions. Email's down in the description. And again, share this if you think it'll help somebody else. Let me know if it helps you. You should feel pain-free after one session. But if you do this over time, 2 or 3 times a week, or whenever you do legs, whenever you play basketball, I promise you that jumper's knee will go away. All that quad tenderness will go away. So again, let me know if it helps you guys. Hope you liked the video. Comment down below anything else you'd want to see. Talk to you guys soon.